typically in the middle of the hurricane season, we have high pressure. The Bermuda High gives you a clockwise flow, and in parts of the Caribbean islands is basically a flow from the east to the west. And tropical systems generally move towards the west during the heart of hurricane season. Well, now things are a little bit different. We have deepening troughs that push all the way into the Caribbean, and it starts to give more of a flow from the west to the east. Hurricane Lenny is being steered towards the east, due east right now. And right now, Hurricane Lenny is the first hurricane ever to threaten Puerto Rico and the Leeward Islands from the west. But it's not the only tropical system to even threaten the islands, though. In November, we had two others. But these weren't hurricanes, these were tropical storms. Back in 1909, number 10, before they named storms, moved on towards the east. Also, back in 1984, Tropical Storm Klaus also threatened the area. Kim?
When the
show you how long it'll last, but first, the latest on Hurricane Lenny. And these are the latest observations, the 8 o'clock observations of Lenny, which puts its location at 15.9 north, 67.6 west. That's 205 miles southwest of San Juan, Puerto Rico. Still with winds of 115 miles an hour, a Category 3 hurricane, moving toward the east-northeast at 16 miles an hour. Its central pressure at 960 millibars. Well, we want to get the latest on Hurricane Lenny from our expert, hurricane expert John Hope.
Well, thank you, Nick, and good evening, everybody. As you know, this is a very anomalous hurricane. We've never seen a hurricane of this intensity in the eastern Caribbean moving toward the east or the northeast in November or any other month for that matter, much less a major hurricane. The top winds, as Nick told you, 115 miles an hour. That makes it a Category 3 on the Saffir-Simpson scale, and we're not sure that it's done getting a little bit stronger yet. It certainly doesn't seem to be getting any weaker. Let's go ahead and review the warnings for you and I'll show you where the warnings are. We do have a hurricane watch out here still for the very eastern tip of Santo Domingo. We think that's going to be taken down before too long. We believe with this moving toward the east and northeast that Santo Domingo is about to get off the hook. In the meantime, we have hurricane warnings out for the entire island, of course, of Puerto Rico, for the offshore islands, and for the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Those are hurricane warnings. And then farther on, we have some warnings out for some of the northern Leeward Islands, and that includes Dutch St. Martin, St. Eustatius, Saba, Anguilla, Nevis, and St. Kitts Island. That's the hurricane warning. And then to the south of that, we still have some hurricane watches. We'll have more details on that as the hurricane gets closer. Now, following this for the last several hours, we haven't seen a whole lot of change. All day long, it moves straight toward the east. The last several hours, it's been moving a little bit north of east. It would have to turn a little sharper than we've seen it turn so far if it's going to pass directly over much of the island of Puerto Rico. Right now, it looks as if the most likely path is for this to kind of skirt the eastern edge of Puerto Rico, perhaps very close to the islands of Vieques and Culebra, and over the U.S. and the British Virgin Islands as well. As we put this into motion, the center circulation right now, the hurricane center right about there on the last frame, and it isn't very clearly marked here, but certainly there is a very well-developed eye out there, about 50 miles in diameter, as reported to us by the weather reconnaissance. Now, we see some of the rain shield, the main rain shield down here at the south of Puerto Rico, headed up in that general direction. And at the very bottom of our picture here in the last several pictures, we can kind of see, I believe, where the eye of the hurricane is. That should come on in view rather plainly during the rest of the night. Once again, the forecast track. Forecast is just skim the eastern part of Puerto Rico, but bear in mind it could be on either side of this swath. We'll continue to bring you frequent updates. Now I'll take you back to Nick in the studio.